We're going bold predictions for this one because I don't know why. I don't know what it is, but it felt like Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens week should have way more juice than it does. I feel like everybody on the outside is talking about how massive this game is, and then that's it. You're just coasting into nothing here. It's just, yeah, this is the game of the week. End of conversation, period. Shut the door. What are we doing? What are we doing? This is a massive game. This potentially decides the AFC North. This decides if the Pittsburgh Steelers are real or not. This decides if the Baltimore Ravens are as scary as people want to say that they are, even when they don't look as scary as people want to say they are. This decides so much for the 2024 season and both of these teams, and it seems as if the energy is a little bit low talking about this game. So I'm bringing the juice with 3 pretty good bold predictions, all on the Pittsburgh Steelers side on this one, because I'm not making bad predictions. They're bold predictions.
Yeah.
We're starting with Russell Wilson, my friend. And somebody asked this yesterday. Is Russ going to throw over a certain number of yards, certain number of touchdowns? And I think it was the what's more likely, potentially. Maybe it was an overreaction. And I think I was a little bit under the weather on my stance on these situations. Watching practice, just sitting thinking, because that's what I do sometimes. You know what I mean? Most people sit around thinking about other things. I sit around thinking about, man, can Russ really throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in this game against the Baltimore Ravens? And then I just sit there and contemplate it and stare at the stars. Russell Wilson, bold prediction number 1, 300 yards and 3 tutties in this one over a Baltimore Ravens defense that is, I've said it all week, and I'll say it one more time here, atrocious, my friend. The secondary is as bad as I have ever seen a Baltimore Ravens secondary. Arthur Millette does not get his revenge game after suffering an ankle injury yesterday. He's in a walking boot now. He's officially been ruled out. Kyle Hamilton is back, but I don't care because there's nobody else there besides Marlon Humphrey to do anything. And this secondary has been so bad and so inconsistent that anybody could put up big numbers against them. Jamar Chase had a game a week and 3 days ago. You're telling me Russell Wilson and George Pickens you don't look at them and say, yeah, they could do the same. They could also come out here and have a massive day against the Baltimore Ravens. Bold prediction number 1 is Russell Wilson, 300 yards, 3 tutties on this one, because I'm telling you, the moon ball is going to work. I expect one of those touchdowns to be Mike Williams. I expect another one to be George Pickens, obviously, but I expect full force people going at it here and the Steelers passing game. I expect 2 conversations to happen on Monday. The first one, if the Steelers win. The first one is that the people finally talking about, okay, well, the Pittsburgh Steelers beat somebody. And again, it's not going to change the needle unless they beat them by multiple scores. The second one is this old Seattle Russ kind of dimmers, and people start just saying, man, Russ is good, dude. Russ is the Pittsburgh Steelers have a quarterback in Russell Wilson. Because I'm getting sick and tired of talking about, is this Russ in Seattle? I don't know, dude. That was a year ago. It was a decade ago that Russ was playing all-pro football for the Seattle Seahawks. That time has come and gone. He's 35 years old. Maybe he's just damn good. Maybe he's just a damn good quarterback. And I think that's coming. 300 yards and 3 tutties is my first bold prediction here for Russell Wilson and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 2, the return of Nick Herbig is not getting talked about enough, okay? This guy was lighting the world on fire through 4.5 games this season, was the guy, had everybody talking about, can you trade Alex Highsmith? Would you trade Alex Highsmith? No, you never would trade Alex Highsmith. And yes, I expect Preston Smith to get the start alongside TJ Watt because he's a veteran. He's been healthy. He's been playing every single week, even if it wasn't with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Nick Herbig's got to come back and readjust himself to this defense and so on and so forth. But TJ Watt is going to get double, triple, and quadruple teamed all day long because the Baltimore Ravens, more than any team in the NFL, understand how dangerous this guy is. And if they're going to win, they're going to shut him down. So who's going to be on the other side of that? Nick Herbig. My friend, I'm not saying 1. I'm saying 2 on Lamar Jackson here. Nick Herbig gets to the quarterback twice. And I think if anybody's it's gonna be Nick Herbig. He's the fastest of the group. He is the quickest when it comes to his agility of the group. And I just think the offense is going to be saying, why do we care about the guy who's coming off the bench, who just came off of a 6-week hamstring injury, hasn't played since the Cowboys game? Nobody cares. Nobody cares about Nick Herbig. You will when he gets sack number 2. I'm telling you that, because Lamar Jackson's going to be looking TJ Watt, Nick Herbig. Nice to meet you, pal. Bold prediction number 2, Nick Herbig, not 1, 2 sacks in this one for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we'll round it off here with bold prediction number 3. Guys, there is no better place to be during football season than at a Pittsburgh Steelers game. And now, Game Time has this new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live, like the Pittsburgh Steelers, even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. I, as everybody knows, am going to see Creed in a couple of weeks, and it was effortless finding my tickets on Game Time. Why? Because they lay everything out for you. All-in pricing shows you the total up front with no surprise fees at checkouts. Seat views means that you get to see a panoramic view of your seat in the app before you ever buy the tickets. The lowest price guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. And Game Time ticket coverage, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use our code ALLSTEELERS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code ALLSTEELERS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Najee Harris, okay? Not getting talked about enough in the national media. I will make that case. Gets talked about enough here. We talk about him plenty. Doesn't get talked about enough in the national media. Doesn't get talked about enough as a guy who is up in the ranks with some of these really good running backs. I'm not saying he's Saquon Barkley. I'm not saying he's Christian McCaffrey. I'm not saying he's Derrick Henry, but I'm saying he's probably the tier below. And that's still a pretty good tier. And I think he might lead that tier below where we stand right now. But this bold prediction is not about him. It's about the guy on the other side that everybody will be comparing him to all night long. And I'm not predicting just that Najee Harris outrushes him, because I expect him to, but that's because I think the bar is going to be low. I'm going Derrick Henry under 50 rushing yards in this bad boy. Oof. Pittsburgh Steelers rush defense comes alive, and they're here not just to stop down or shut down Lamar Jackson. They're here to shut down Derrick Henry. They've had Lamar's number forever. They know Lamar Jackson. They knew everything about Lamar Jackson. You want to know who they aren't as familiar with, but still a little bit familiar with? Derrick Henry. You want to know where that attention's always been in every single game that they have ever played in the history of Pittsburgh Steelers football? The running game. It's not going to change this week. They are going to be sold on stopping Derrick Henry. I'm saying Derrick Henry under 50 rushing yards in this one. Cam Hayward, Larry Ogunjobi, Preston Smith, Keanu Benton, they go off. And I think Derrick Henry slows himself down. Worst game of his season so far for the King. Those are my 3 bold predictions. Russ Wilson, over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Nick Herbig, 2 sacks. Derrick Henry, under 50 rushing yards. You got a lot to say. I could see it in your face.
That last one, you talk about bold predictions. That is a piping hot, under 50 rushing yards. And here's the thing. I can see a way in which that plays out, because time and time again, how many times have we seen it? The Ravens always have a really good rushing attack, whether that's before Derrick Henry or after they've gotten Derrick Henry. But for some ungodly reason, Harbaugh decides against the Steelers, we're going to put this in Lamar's hands. We're not going to run it. We're going to run a 3 wide receiver set, because that's how we've been, never winning games. We always win games on the ground. But against the Steelers, for some reason, they try to air it out. If that happens, yeah, you could see it. But if they're given Derrick Henry that healthy dosage of carries that he usually gets, 50 is tough. And if they do it, If they do it, you will have the victory lap of victory laps on Monday, and I'll be so excited for it. And I know I'll get the text message the
Yes.
second we see triple zeros. But
Yes.
50 seems a bit ridiculous. All the other ones I could see, and my bold prediction was along the lines of your second one with Nick Herbig. But I'm looking on the other side. I'm saying, you know what? They can focus on TJ Watt all they want. The dude almost got shut out completely last week. He had one pass deflection. Otherwise, it would have been like he was not even on the field.
Yeah.
I think he gets 3 today or this weekend.
3 sacks.
I think he snags Lamar Jackson 3 times. That is my bold prediction,
wow.
which is big, but not as big as Derrick Henry under 50 yards. So I'm feeling a little bit better about my bold prediction now that I've heard yours.
That's 3 sacks. That's
3.
bold, my friend. That's
Trifecta.
bold, my friend. The last time Derrick Henry was under 50 yards for the Baltimore Ravens, which he's had some freaking games.
Yeah.
151, 199, 132, 169, 106, all on his resume this season. The last time he had less than 50 rushing yards, the only time he's had less than 50 rushing yards in a Baltimore Ravens uniform, week 1 against the Kansas City Chiefs. But the Baltimore Ravens, they haven't played a defense as good as the Kansas City Chiefs until this week, week 11, against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm telling you, it's not going to be as smooth for him. That's my boldest, and I'm not going to lie, I think it's my firmest. I think I'm feeling more confident in that one than any of them this week. Call me crazy. And I'm sure a lot of people will call me crazy.